smudging ceremony is one of the many, many ceremonies that take place and that have been kept alive throughout our land. And you know, when you go in different territories, there's different protocols, different customs, different traditions. But when the person is truly walking their original path, there will be a ceremony attached to whatever they do. I've been fortunate in being able to be a part of the big house over in Port Hardy when I attended there as a counselor to help children coming out of trauma. And I was immediately invited into one of their ceremonies so I could understand what the protocols were. As an Indigenous person, it doesn't mean that I know all the protocols and all the values and all the beliefs across the land. There's many, many, many. And thank you so much for paying due respect to inviting me to come here to represent the elders, the wisdom keepers, and knowledge keepers across the land. And I welcome the Manchuti people to the land, and I welcome you all to this Treaty 6 territory. It's been a difficult journey, and we continue on. And the Idle No More movement that took place in 2012 has been the seed planted in many hearts and many minds that has awakened the people to understanding that we need to walk together in solidarity to keep our land clean and our waters uncontaminated. And that is part of the main purpose. Please do come in and sit down. For Idle No More that took place with the 4 women that started the hashtag of Idle No More. It moved across the land as a movement towards not only taking care of our treaties, but also taking care of the land and the water. Not just for ourselves, our children, or our grandchildren, but for those yet to be born. It's become very important to us that we step up as a people. We acknowledge that we are the land keepers, the water keepers, and we are the people. It was our ancestors who kept the abundance alive in this land, who kept the water pure, who understood how to work in harmony with the land, and not to take more than what was needed, but to always have that give and take, that fine balance of give and take with everything that they did. From the first mobile home being the teepee, moving across the land, one of the first mobile homes, moving across the land, to other people walking across the land to follow the food sources. And we still, many live off the land. We still, many of us fish, hunt, gather, and rely on our land and our water to feed us. So we've stepped up in various ways to ensure that is available for the future generations. I have children, I have grandchildren, hopefully great-grandchildren someday. I'm taking that one home over here. You know, but as I look at that little one, it renews in me the commitment that I made as a person who was given the gift of sacred responsibility of carrying a pipe, of given the honor of being a sun dancer in our ceremonies and keeping our cultural practices alive and keeping our languages alive and keeping our ways of life alive. When I look at the little one, I know that I've done everything I can for the past 30 years to ensure there's something for her, for children like her, so she could eat and she could have clean drinking water, and she could have a place to call home. When the government of Canada works against us, which they are doing now, and we are praying hard that this government will change, and we're going to do everything in our power to change the ruling government throughout the land at the next federal election, October 19th. It is our prayer that the next Prime Minister will work with us, alongside of us, and seek and consult as is their duty under the treaties. It is a legality that's upheld in courts. It is a legality that we're very aware of. And many people, and I acknowledge Tanya Capo, who's become a lawyer, and I'm really pleased that there's many people like her who are taking time to work on behalf of the treaties and use that knowledge for the betterment of the people, preserving the land and the water, and preserving the agreements, the legal documents that say we have more rights on this land than other people. And that is not something that is taught to people when they come to this land. Last March, that I was involved with, I was told that the people are being told Indigenous people are the spoiled brats, whining and complaining constantly. Let me tell you that we are not spoiled brats. We are entitled to certain things in this land because there's a certain amount of land they were supposed to use given permission by our ancestors. And this was agreed upon many, many years ago. And the reality is that has not been adhered to. That's why there's such an increase when residential schools came into place under the Assimilation Policy Act, and to assimilate us into another way of being, into another culture, into another language. They took the children. They did not come after the adults. They took the children and changed the way they think, the way they are, the languages they spoke. And in these residential schools that were open for many years, at least 3 generations, throughout the land, and my father being one of them, they beat the children and tortured them if they dared to speak their own language. And they would cut the hair of the child when he or she was brought into the residential schools. So when the Truth and Reconciliation Commission came about 6 years ago and started documenting and hearing the stories throughout the land, the truth was slowly being revealed, and those children who were now older, and in some cases elders, in some cases, parents who couldn't understand why they couldn't bond in some ways, or they had troubles in their families, couldn't understand what happened in these residential schools. Now the Truth and Reconciliation was bringing all those wounds up. I'm grateful that I've been given the privilege of helping people recover from those traumas. That is what I do. I don't get paid for it. I get paid from it in the sense of my heart being in the right place, my children being healthy, as my parents would say. When we do things that are right and we're doing things according to spiritual law, our children will be looked after, our grandchildren will be looked after, and those who are yet to be born in our bloodline will be looked after. So I'm very much committed to this. I used to be the most sought after elder here in Edmonton when I worked for the Edmonton Remand, and in doing so, I cut my throat when I wrote a report about a brutal beating that took place in the Edmonton Remand, and I reported that to the authorities. That is still ongoing. That has cost me the ability to work in any government structure. And I'm okay with that, because that young boy lived. The role of a correctional officer is not to judge and convict. The role of a correctional officer is to keep peace and safety and security. Right? And they're agreeing with me too. That's not right? And same with the justice system across this land. Their role is not to identify us as a people, but their role is to provide for us culturally sensitive approaches to justice. We have our own ways of justice, and that has not been brought into the courtrooms, nor has it been brought into any justice systems across the land. I've been privileged to be teaching Supreme Court judges in what I view as our culturally sensitive approaches. I was one of the first to bring in the smudging ceremony into a courtroom here in Edmonton. I said I don't ask permission, I just ask for the space. And I teach about rights. We have rights. We have the human rights on top of the treaty rights, and we have the Constitution to back us up on that. So it's really an education process throughout the land. And when I hear stories of people in different lands suffering in different ways, and they're torturing and being put under and being killed and being bullied by police or government, I can certainly relate. I can certainly relate. I've lived out of my car to do my job. I've lived, in the streets to do this. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't do anything that is negative, harmful to the body. That's not what I was taught. But as my elders would say, you're going to pay a price for the commitment you're making when you take this pipe. I didn't know at the time when I accepted the responsibility what a price I would pay. But it is well worth it when I look at a little one like that who cannot speak for themselves, who need us as a people to work together, the Indigenous people all over the world, against a system that is corrupt, a system that does not belong to us, a system that says the indigenous way of life is wrong, a system that teaches corruption, violence, and how to batter each other. I not only get abuse and hatred from non-indigenous people, but the government has been really good at conquering and dividing our own people. And how do we work with that? So I work and talk with some of the chiefs, and I work and talk with other leaders in how we do that. And we plan strategies around that, specific to bringing back the family unit and understanding that the culture, the spiritual practices are the root of us as a people. I'd ask you to join me in prayer.
Yo, como Alberto o como Huerquén, hoy vengo a presentar un sector, digamos, del territorio del Gualmapo, en el cual estamos enfrentándonos con diversos o diferentes enemigos, como empresa forestal, empresa hidroeléctrica y así también los poderes políticos que hoy nos van o juegan, digamos, con las comunidades mapuche en este caso, a través de sus políticas mentirosas.
So, as a messenger of the Mapuche Nation, or as from our organization, I've come today to talk about the resistance and the struggle that our peoples face. Resistance and struggle against forestry companies, mining companies, and that political game, the political lies.
Cuando hablamos de resistencia, hoy son muchas las comunidades que están en su recuperación territorial, como ya le dije, en diferentes puntos del Gualmapo. Hoy se recupera tierra debido a que el Estado, digamos, a través de la colonización o a través de la empresa forestal, usurpó muchas tierras mapuche, y hoy las comunidades han decidido de hacer su recuperación, hacer uso, digamos, de su legítima defensa de lo que siempre nos perteneció.
So there are many communities back home that are looking and seeking their territorial rights. Many of these communities, or some of these communities, have won back these rights, or these lands, lands that were taken away and usurped by various landowners.
Y la consecuencia de esta lucha, bueno, ha significado muerte de nuestros hermanos jóvenes principalmente, que Alex Lemun en este caso tenía 17 años, Mendoza Collío tenía 24 años y el Matías Catrileo tenía 22 años, quienes fueron asesinados en esta supuesta democracia, en donde estuvo gobernando la actual presidenta hoy, Michelle Bachelet. En su gobierno anterior asesinó a 2, y como también Ricardo Lago asesinó a otro mapuche. Y hay una cantidad de jóvenes líderes quienes han dirigido, digamos, esta lucha, que hoy se encuentran condenados en diferentes cárceles también que se ha impuesto, digamos, en el territorio mapuche.
So the consequence of this resistance and the consequence of this struggle has resulted in many deaths of our young leaders. Leaders aged from 14 to 22 years old. Leaders who were murdered supposedly in the so-called democracy that has returned to Chile, 2 of which have been murdered under the current government of Chile. Along with the murders, there comes incarceration of many of our leaders.
Puntualmente en mi sector, hoy nos sentimos o nos encontramos amenazados por empresas hidroeléctricas, de los cuales hemos hecho seguimiento acerca de las aguas que hay aún en el territorio. Son muy pocas las que hay, porque muchos son consumidos por la empresa forestal con la plantación exótica que tiene que ver con el eucalipto. Cuando nos dimos cuenta de que esas aguas hoy están inscritas a nombre de la misma empresa forestal, como también otro tipo de empresa hidroeléctrica, Endesa y así un sinfín de otros dueños, pero no pertenece a la comunidad donde uno vive. Vemos pasar el agua, pero no somos los dueños de aquella agua.
So currently the sector that Alberto lives in is under attack from hydroelectric companies. And the waters that run through these communities, they've found out, do not even belong to them. So they've actually been entitled, or they've been given over to various forestry companies and corporations.
Siguiendo con el tema de agua, es indignante de que en nuestra propiedad, en nuestro territorio, siendo nosotros como mapuche dueños, digamos, de todos los recursos, porque ahí nos dejó Chaun Nechen, o sea, el creador del hombre nos puso ahí y hoy no somos dueños. Entonces, cuando se acercan estas empresas hoy día con su proyecto hidroeléctrico, ¿cierto? Pretenden entubar toda la fuente de agua. ¿Y en qué sentido somos dañados? O sea, tanto en el sentido espiritual como también en la otra parte económica, ya que afectará en todo lo que tiene que ver con nuestro consumo. O sea, nosotros que trabajamos en ganadería, nuestros animales ya no podrán ingresar a beber, digamos, de esa agua porque van a ir por un tubo. Entonces es una lucha, es una consecuencia negativa que va a generar, digamos, hacia las comunidades mapuche y no mapuche que habitan en el sector rural.
So, as Mapuche people, we do find this indignant, considering that our Creator put us there on their lands to be protectors of those waters. Currently, the companies that are functioning in these areas affect the spirituality, the daily consumption of water in these communities. Water that is used obviously for personal use, but also for the animals that live on that land.
Bueno, y esto es parte, digamos, de lo que queremos compartir con ustedes. Tal vez muchos de ustedes conocen la situación de Chile o su constitución. Sin embargo, nosotros no hemos tenido participación ahí y creo que todos hoy día esos acuerdos o desacuerdos que tienen entre ellos como políticos, nosotros no nos sumamos a ellos. Nosotros nos validamos como pueblo mapuche y bueno, frente a eso también somos acusados de violentistas, de activistas y bueno, hay un sinfín de calificativos que nos hacen. Sin embargo, nuestra convicción, nuestra lucha es continuar para dejar o heredar, digamos, aquella vida que nos heredó nuestro abuelo. Nosotros también queremos heredárselo a nuestros hijos, a nuestro nieto digo, y por lo tanto la lucha la queremos seguir dando hasta donde la fuerza nos dé.
So, many of you probably do recognize and understand probably the current situation in Chile in terms of the Constitution. As Mapuche people, we are not represented in this Constitution, and we also do not form part of the political game and the political struggle that exists between political parties. The struggle that we wish to bring to you is a struggle which means a fight for our inheritance that we will leave to our children and to our grandchildren.
Y frente a esto mismo, bueno, la empresa llega a ofrecer mucho dinero, lo que significa también dividir a las comunidades internas, pero hay una cosa que nosotros, y que mencioné anteriormente cuando somos intervenidos en la parte espiritual, en la vida espiritual del pueblo mapuche. Nosotros cada vez que nos reunimos, ya sea cada 2 años, 4 años, que tiene que ver con nuestra religión, hacer una rogativa o un guillatún en Mapudungún, invocamos a esos seres o a esos dueños, digamos, de las aguas, dueños de los cerros, de la montaña, invocamos hacia esa fuerza superior para el equilibrio, digamos, de nuestra vida y no tener que sufrir consecuencias porque en el fondo el mapuche el que sufre la consecuencia si dejamos que transgredan, digamos, o aquellos espacios sagrados.
So, in light of these corporations that do invade our territories, it's, for us, we see how they have tried to divide our communities. They offer our communities money in a way that they seek to divide those of us that are trying to unite. So what we try to do is every time we join in our spiritual ceremonies and our spiritual gatherings, we invoke the spiritual owners of the water, of the land, to guide us in our struggle.
Y bueno, o sea, por otra parte también, bueno, la parte más alta, digamos, donde nosotros vivimos ya en la cordillera, también ya tienen puesto, digamos, la mira, digamos, estos empresarios que trabajan en minería, donde también van a perforar nuestros cerros para sacar recursos, digamos, de los recursos que ellos hoy día lo utilizan, yo ahí no sé para qué, pero son todas, digamos, trabajos que ellos hacen transgrediendo, digamos, nuestro espacio. Por lo tanto, hoy venimos a compartir con ustedes, tanto como para denunciar y poder tomar también algún acuerdo de cómo apoyarnos mutuamente, debido a que también los indígenas, digamos, de Canadá sufren también la misma consecuencia, digamos, la vulneración de sus derechos, como la que pudimos manifestar anteriormente, de los familiares que hoy se manifestaban exigiendo, digamos, sobre sus familias, su hijo o su hija que han desaparecido hoy. Por lo tanto, le dejamos el mensaje a tener que continuar en esta lucha y a tener que unificar, digamos, fuerza para enfrentar, digamos, a estos gobiernos, a estos militares que a veces atentan contra nuestra vida.
So in the mountainous areas in the region where we are, we also have seen how these companies, these mining companies, have set their eyes on our resources. Again, another transgression of the land on which we live. So we've come here today as a way to denounce what's going on in Chile, and also as a way to join forces with the indigenous communities here. We had the opportunity to join in the rally on Sunday with the murdered and missing indigenous women here. So this is a way where we can seek to join forces and to denounce all these transgressions against our people mutually.
Bueno,
Tell me to be faster.
y para ya ir terminando mi presentación, bueno, yo soy una de las personas también que lidero los actos culturales, espirituales en mi comunidad, como también estoy trabajando en la educación tradicional mapuche, desde nuestro conocimiento, lo que dejó, los pocos conocimientos que nos dejó nuestro abuelo, nuestro papá. Hoy día lo estoy trabajando con la nueva generación que están creciendo hoy en la comunidad. Así que eso sería mi participación. Gracias.
So Alberto is one of the leaders of in terms of cultural and religious ceremonies in his community. And he is also working with the youth, the new leaders of tomorrow. And he just wanted to say thank you.